Alright, welcome everyone. This is Cage here, and this is the first ever of me recording a game. It is a game that I very much enjoy, and if anyone hasn't played it yet, I highly recommend you grab it. Very great developer, still in development, but very active, also a very active mod community, which makes this game amazing. So, sorry about that, I had to pause the recording there. Having a little bit of a cold I'm trying to get over with, so I'll probably be pausing and starting, or at least muting the audio sometimes to cough up a lung. But, as I said, a very active modding community, which is what I will be playing today. We're going Starsector, quite heavily modded. Got quite a few factions, a lot of expansion stuff on here, as well as Nexerelin, which takes this game just to the next level. But the big mod I'll be doing is the Star Wars mod. So let's get into a new game here. Give me 1 second to get my stuff set up here, and then I'll bring you back. Alright, so we are back now. And as you can probably guess, we were playing as the Empire, because as everyone knows, the Empire did nothing wrong. There's quite a few portraits to pick from. I picked this intense looking dude right here. And got my name set up. Mixed sector age, normal size. Continue. Set up for Nexerelin, so we can go next. Alright, so another thing I will be changing is I will be going to... I was thinking I would do random, but I think going flatten, which will make it so that all of the different factions start as a neutral to each other, and that way we can just see where stuff goes. Makes so that there's different events that happen in the game in the background that you can see popping up in the event log, which will slowly start changing the way the factions feel about each other. And then faction respawn will be set to all, because there are some factions that don't really get to start in the game except under certain circumstances normally, but by going all, that means that everything will have a chance to respawn with random rolls in the background that we can't really see, but we will get to see the reactions of other factions when those guys pop up. Sorry, I had to pause again, coughing up more of my lungs, and I think that's it. So, I don't think I want to do any of those. Okay. So proceed, and faction is going to be the Empire. So let's see what we can start with. A lot of different options. We can even do a custom one, which you can go kind of crazy with and just give yourself like an executor right off. The Procrastinator is not bad, but I am quite the fan of the Gladiators, which I like quite a bit. But 1 second to see what some of these random things will give me. I'll be right back. Alright, I'm back. So I guess we're going to go with the Carrier Small, just because, like I said, I am a fan of the Gladiators. I'm also a fan of the Victory Ones, which kind of get a bad rap in any of the lore if anyone reads or pays attention to that stuff. But the Gladiator's a nice one. Not very well known, but I kind of like the design. We could have gone with the large and gotten the Venator classic there, but I figured for a start that might be a bit strong, especially since we're going to be essentially at peace with everyone if the settings work right. So I think this one will be a little bit of a medium ground, so we'll select that, and then we'll be starting as an ensign. And 20,000 credits isn't very much, so that means we're going to have to be working quite a bit to get some of our money to do things. So we have one Gladiator, which will be our capital ship, command ship for now. We get 2 Vindicator cruisers. Oh, a Vindicator and a Immobilizer. So we got ourselves an Interdictor. So that can be nice. They have a special which is supposed to keep an enemy from being able to jump away, but as far as I know, it doesn't work that way. I think they're still working on the coding for that, but it does mess up missiles. So it does make it a little bit harder for the enemy to hit you with their missiles. So ensign and done. And then here's our skill tree. We get 1 skill point to start with, and personally I tend to go with more support skills just because in the long run I think that's a little bit more helpful, because I'm not an expert by any means at this game, so me flying around doing stuff, trying to be a super ship by myself, usually ends up with me dying. So in that vein, I think I will keep with that support skill. And for the support skill, usually navigation is a very good one, because going faster is always helpful, and getting the transverse jump, letting you jump through planet gravity while instead of having to use actual jump holes, is very nice. But in early game, it kind of messes up a bit because it eats up a lot of your supplies. I mean, you don't have a very cargo bay, that can hurt you quite a bit. And the ones down here, also very useful. Extra cargo, always good, always looting, so always run out of cargo space in my ships quite a bit. Salvaging's nice. If you're going out long distance stuff, being able to salvage wrecks and debris fields out in space is good. Getting more stuff from that. And field repairs, also very useful. Repairing your ships faster, repairing basically cheaper, because 25% of the damage is automatically repaired after combat. So, give me 1 second to think this over about what I'm going to be doing for this game, and I'll be right back. Alright, so after thinking this through for probably a lot longer than I should have, I went back and forth on a lot of stuff, because carrier groups, since we are carriers right off, and tend to be what I play a lot of, is very nice. But for early game, I think navigation is probably going to be best for us, because it will help us run away from fights we cannot win. Doesn't always work, but, running is a viable tactic when survival is your most important goal. So let's load up. Alright. And here we are. Let's unpause it. Get rid of this stuff, that's okay, I don't need anything with that for now. That's for later, if I survive that long and if this playthrough goes that long, because I'm not sure how much time I'm going to have to put into this and how popular it will be, but for now, I will do this. So, here we are, I'll pause it, and we are above Coruscant right now. Got some Imperial sector patrol fleets out, just spawned in, so they're going to be going to patrol in the system, and usually some will go into hyperspace and patrol around the jump point. So, give you guys a quick look at what we got here on the UI. So we got our money, here's our supplies with how many you use per day, and go down, so readiness, our speed, fleet-wide hull and armor status, how long it takes to repair stuff if we get damaged, and some other stuff. It doesn't really do much for us, but sensor range and sensor profile, so how far away they can see us. Got some abilities down here, transponder, which you always have to use in claimed space, otherwise you get in trouble. Go dark, you can turn everything off and try to go stealth, and if you have a small enough fleet, usually you can sneak through stuff. Sensor burst lets you see stuff further away, so if you ping that, it slows you down. Everyone knows you're there, but it doubles your sensor range. You can see pings, little things over here on your radar to see if anything's around that you can't see at your current visual range. Got emergency burn, which lets you go a lot faster for a short amount of time for extra fuel use, and also takes down your readiness, so it's expensive, but it is useful to escape if you need to. Sustained burn, which I'll hit now, but that makes it so that you go faster, but your acceleration is a lot slower. We got salvaging, so if we see any debris fields, we can salvage stuff and get some, usually supplies, fuel, and maybe some random odds and ends that way. Siphon fuel, which lets you use up supplies to make your own fuel in nebulas, which is helpful if you're out exploring. Usually you run out of fuel before you run out of supplies, as long as you're not fighting a lot. Then we got interdiction pulse, so if you're trying to slow somebody down, like these guys, I'm trying to attack one of them, I hit that ping and it'll pulse out and it'll shut off all their engines for a second. So then they have to stop and slow down and have to slowly speed back up, but that gives me a chance to catch them if I'm faster than them right off. Or Refinery. Sorry about that. Hope that didn't get through on the microphone. Refinery, you can, like as it says, forge platinum bars, so you can forge ore, so it'll save you money, or save you cargo space if you're mining, or find a bunch of ore and have a lot of supplies to burn on that. And distress call, so if you run out of fuel somewhere, you can hit that and it will, iffy, but someone might come to help you, or someone might come to attack you to take what you have. And what else we got? Oh yeah, that's the transverse jump since I took navigation. So instead of having to use the jump point, I can just jump here from the planet. But like I said earlier, that takes a lot. It takes extra fuel and it takes supplies because it messes up your ships to do that. Pause here for a second, I cough. Alright, I'm back. Sorry about that. Close out of that. I don't know why I popped up. Pause again. So now we can take a look at our ship real quick. What character? You already saw that same screen, nothing's changed so far, but fleet. So you can see we've got ordnance points because it doesn't always fit out your ship all the way. Usually it means they haven't put in the vents for you. So if we go to, what do we got here? We got the Imperial Mass Ramdar, Gladiator class Imperial Carrier. Just tells you its little things there, a bunch of info on it. We've got the Imperial Teucer. You're gonna have to forgive me, I'm not best at pronouncing stuff. Vindicator class heavy Imperial cruiser with its info card. And then we've got the Imperial Convector Immobilizer class cruiser. So, pretty cool. What have we got for refit? Which is how you fit your ships. Yeah, and cause in case you don't want to do it in space, it's bad. But you can see what they've got. Different features. It's cargo. What do we got for cargo? Dismiss. So supplies, fuel, crew. Crew is individual, so it's every ship has to have a certain number of crew to run efficiently. Heavy machinery, which is what you use for a lot of stuff. We got a weapon blueprint. That's all the weapons that we have access to right up. So we can learn that. So we got 69 weapon blueprints. So let's close that. Well, let's fit up our ships real fast. So this is when you go to a planet. Com directory tells you everyone that's in control of the station, commander, quartermaster, the MOF. So I guess that would be probably the system commander. You get some mercenary officers, which you can hire to captain your ships for you. Mercenary officers are more expensive because they cost more because they're mercenaries, but you can hire full-time ones as well. Then got Moon Day Dahlia, which is our contact, which for this gives us basically our storyline contact. We talk to them and we can get jobs from them, which will increase the standing with them, which gives us more missions and different types. It's also how we can easily increase our reputation with the different factions. And there are a lot of these guys in the different factions. You just gotta track them down and make sure they like you enough to give you the missions. So what have they got for us? Bounties, Nanoforge. Oh, so if we wanted to, if we had the money for it, they could build us something from our own blueprints or theirs. So if we had the money, we could get them to make us any of these ships. Which for this, I will be using Star Wars only ships for this playthrough since we are the Empire, and I'll most likely just be using Empire ships for the most part. But who knows? There are a couple other ships I like that I might throw in there. But if we had the money, we could get an Eclipse, Superstar Destroyers, all kinds of stuff, but we are poors for now. So we'll decline that one. Let's see what we got for a bounty. God, that's far away. What do they got? That'd be easy to do. So what else we got here? Still far away. Probably maybe doable for us, but difficult. The Falcons are tough ones. This one we definitely won't be able to do right now. So I guess 230 fuel. That's not too bad. We can probably do that one. We'll accept that. We have, as you can see, have 120 days to do it, which is good because it can take a while to do stuff. You get sidetracked a lot here. You Can't count the number of missions I've failed because I got distracted chasing other stuff and timed out missions. We'll get 52,000 credits for doing that. Surplus supplies. That's not bad, but yeah, we're gonna need a lot of supplies to. Oh, that's a stockpile. Yeah, we can't really afford to do that right now. It's too far out of the way. So we got our bounty mission. You got a dockside bar, which is where you can get a lot of stuff. You got the Unsanctioned Bounty board, which has some pretty neat stuff to do. Let's see. Yeah, trial intervention. Port frigate. That might. Yeah. One thing that's nice about these is it gives you what it estimates the target, the danger that it has, and it's usually fairly accurate. So, a significant challenge at this point would probably be doable, but it would be rough, and we can't afford to take too much damage right now, so we don't have the money to repair anything. Test the incident. This one got, definitely not Tritac. Their high-tech ships are very, very powerful. Once you get later on, you have a ship that has a decent shield sink. It's not as bad. And Pathers, which are kind of Luddites, they hate technology. So they're a faction. So he's got he tells us where our base is, so we don't really need to worry about that too much. Nothing that affects us. This guy, what's he? I think he's kind of slow, or you can pause if I don't go slow enough, you can pause it to read it. But so this is basically, we found a colony, and then we essentially sell it to him, I believe. I don't think I've ever done one of these before. I can't remember if it's that or if they just... Oh, he just pays us per month. So we found a colony, essentially, to make him 3 units of harvested organs somehow. Which is a difficult one to do because I don't know how to make those. I'm not an expert at this game at all, but I've played it a bit. Well, I've got a lot of hours into it. I just haven't been into the depths of the stuff yet, really. A lot more just flying around and having fun blowing stuff up. And here's the store, basically. So you can buy supplies, fuel, hire more crew, marines. You can do invasions, which is kind of neat. It's a little mini game they have, which is pretty cool, actually, the way they have it simulated. And your different goods. And then mod specs, which are modifications you can put on your ship. And then weapons. But we don't really need any of this stuff right now because our ships are basically fully fitted for us. And as you can see, there's also different markets. So you got open, which anyone can use as long as you have decent relation with the planet's faction. You have the Empire military, which you have to have to have very good relations with the system and also be part of the military, which we are commissioned by them right now. So we get a small stipend from them, and we also get access to their stuff. But as you can see, it's also rented out on some of the stuff, so some of their higher end gear we cannot access yet. And then Black Market, which is another one anyone can do. And it gives you a lot of stuff, or a lot of different stuff, but not as much. As you can see, here you got 2,600 supplies and 1,000 fuel, but here you've only got 700 supply, or 744 and about 300 fuel. So there's usually less of it, but there's more options. It's also a way you can get some of the high-end gear without having to have high relations. So you can see we get some TIE Strikers, which I don't think before. But the problem is the more of the stuff you buy, you can see here it says suspicion level. Right now we have none because we haven't bought anything, but the more stuff you buy, the higher that suspicion gets, and if it gets high enough, you will be grabbed for a customs inspection, which can be annoying. But we don't need that, so we will go to refit, dismiss. So as you can see, we've got some TIE Aggressor fighters, Avenger, some Oppressor light bombers, some automated starfighters. On them, what do they got? Just TIE lines. So for this, we're going to max out capacitors, because that's the basically amount of what they call flux. Think of it as sort of like heat from Mech Warrior. It builds up as you fire weapons and take damage on your shields. And here's the built-in modifications we have. So blast doors, it makes crew casualties less, also increases our hull integrity. Got a deflector shield, which is special for the Star Wars only. The shields they have do not work like the base games, which is good and bad at the same time. Ground support package, so you have this, and basically planetary bombardment. So it increases your marine attack score. And recovery shuttle, which makes so your pilots don't die as often, which is good because, you know, it's TIE fighters, so you'd be losing a lot of men. So max out capacitors, max out the events, which is the amount how fast it dissipates per second. At least I believe it's per second. So you can see we create 529 weapon flux. So that's just base shooting our weapons if all of them are going. So if you're only on one side, it's only going to be, you know, a portion of that. And then flux dissipation, which I believe is how much you dissipate per second. So if we maxed it out, we would take about a little under 10 seconds to dissipate all of our flux, which is pretty good. And as you can see, we still have 30 points left over, which is ordnance points, which is the number like 10, how much stuff costs. So let's see what we can add in. Well, not very much. Reinforced bulkheads are always good. And then I go with auxiliary thrusters. Can't go wrong with maneuverability. We'll do the same for these guys. Thrusters, bulkheads. Alright. So I can see we still got some points left. But not much we can use them on right now, so probably just leave them. So much stuff costs. Yeah. That's kind of expensive. So I guess we'll just leave them for now. As we get more money, I might go through and add in some different fighters, which can cost more money, or a lot more money and more points. So we'll leave those for now. Just leave the extra points on there. So I see anything cheap here, sir. Yeah, from X1. So I think that's what basically Darth Vader's, I believe, his fighter was. So they're better. They got shields. We'll give that to him. I'll get a couple points there. So that, and also if we go fleet, we can buy and see what ships they have on offer, which, yeah, like I thought we won't be able to really afford anything. We can afford a Corvette, but that'd take all of our money, and we're gonna need some supplies to get where we're gonna be going. Yeah, so there we go. We got 375. Let's buy. See how much we can get. See if we can get 100 more. Yeah, that should be enough for that. And we're gonna need more fuel. Because we're gonna need at least 500. We can't afford that. That's not good. Sell that. It's a little money. Use up all of our credits to get what we can. Go. And we can sell this because we're not gonna need those. 50 is a good number. Get some more fuel. That should just barely get us there, I think. So exit out, and we can leave. So there's that. We'll head to the jump point. We'll speed this up. Jump to hyperspace. There's going to be a lot of tooltips that pop up because I just started a new game, so we'll save real quick. So this is hyperspace. You see there's the sector patrol fleet patrolling around Coruscant. If we go to the map here, boom, that is the universe that we have. You see all the ones that have names on them are all have colonized planets in them. So lots of stuff to explore, and it doesn't have a name on the map like that is unexplored, so that's a lot of territory to go exploring in. But so that's that. Let's go to Intel, and that's a lot of some missions that popped up. Anything over where we're going? Not quite. Where's that? Yeah, we'll be able to do that. I should have checked that first probably before I took that mission. But going over here, right click on it. That will set our autopilot. So we got that set. So let's head over there. It's going to be close on fuel. Very close. A lot closer than I would like. But we'll head that way. One thing that's nice, turn off neutral. Yeah, so it looks like the faction relations did work. Looks like I gotta sneeze here real quick. At least I thought I needed to sneeze, I guess not. But let's head over that way. So as we go, see all these little clouds. That's the, like, I guess, I forget what they're called, but it's like basically turbulence. So it slows you down as you go through it, and then if you see the flashy ones, those are like hyperspace, subspace storms, which will mess you up. They'll toss you off course and do a lot of damage to your ships. So it wastes a lot of supplies. So kind of slow down when you're going to run into those. So let's keep going. I don't know if you guys want to see this whole thing or the whole trip, but I'll keep in here and try to keep a little bit of commentary going maybe. And then if anyone doesn't like it, I can just cut it out later if you comment, or anyone that's on the Discord, the Into the Zone is where I usually hang out, which is a buddy of mine's server for a lot of stuff, hanging out, LARPing, and whatnot. You can poke me on there if you want, and say whether or not you'd like it. But you should go check them out. If I remember, I'll try and put a link to it in the comment section, or in the description when I put this on YouTube. Slow down there. But if you, yeah, see, it's even got sprites on the hyperspace map, so you got each of your little ships, and as you get more, this circle will get a little bigger, and you'll see up to, I'm not sure what the max size is. I know base game it's, I believe, 20, 25, 30, somewhere around there. But with mods, it can be taken away, or they can be upped. I'm not sure what the upper limit is, though. But as you can, have you seen the log over here? Stuff pops up. So the diplomacy and the distress call. So originally in the Churd-Bogotanma star system, which would be, where would that be? That's not too far away. We could try that and see what it is, just for funsies. It could be good or bad. It could be someone that needs help, like they'll ask for some supplies or some fuel, stuff like that. Or it could be an abandoned ship that just had a distress call that's just been going off for, who knows how long. It's an abandoned ship with maybe people in cryo to get rescued. Or it could be a trap. Not sure that's going to work on it. Autopilot. Let's go back over here. Churd-Bogotanma. Yeah. So let's hit the jump point. See if anything's there. Oh, a watchtower and Crusader class Corvette. Oh, there's our income. And it shows you what planets are here. So recovery. We got lasting damage, demods, maintenance, weapons. Yeah, not very good. Don't want to recover that. So no. Get salvage. I'll give us some fuel, some weapons, and random other bits and bobs. Watchtowers. That can be dangerous depending on if there's anything here in the system. So we'll run away. Luckily that made up our fuel, so we didn't really lose too much there. Luckily. And if it gets really bad, we get sucked into a random system because you run out of fuel in hyperspace. It just dumps you whatever the nearest gravity well is. This will save us some fuel, which is nice. Also gotta be careful with these slipstreams because you get stuck in them. Sometimes it's hard to get out. They also don't lead you all ways where you want to go. They also sometimes, I got like the way they program the AI for those. Sometimes you'll get guys that'll lay in wait at the end of those and grab people to come out of them. What are you? That must be a sensor ghost. No. Torch class gunboat. Let's see if we can catch that and salvage it. We can always use some more fuel out here. Come on, catch it. Oh, that's weird. There we go. That was interesting. It's clearly just a blip, hyperspace, so I guess they didn't think the ship was here? I don't know. It's not bad demoz, but as it is not a Star Wars ship, I will not be taking it, but I will salvage it. Doesn't give us much, but every little bit helps at our stage. So let's head, so this is the system we need to jump into for our fight. We go to the, don't want to jump out. Autopilot does that sometimes, so Intel, Bounty, and the Delta Grimsharos, which is where we are. So it doesn't say, usually it'll say around a planet, but since it's not, it doesn't say that, we're just going to have to search a bit. So let's go check the planets first. It's usually where they are. Other times they will just track you down. I don't know why it's programmed that way, but they do. We don't want to do any of that. We don't have the supplies to do any exploration right now. You explore planets, tells you what they have on them, so you can get some info on them, which you can sell, which is a good way to do it early game. Oh, there he is. All right, and there's the ping, interdiction pulse. And I'll try and run away from here for a second. You'll see what it does. Yep. There we go, interdicted. Then they'll jump in, which is good to let them do that because hitting their burn uses up readiness, which makes them easier to kill because they can't stay in combat as long. So we'll, if we wanted to, we could try running away, which if your fleet's small enough, which ours is, you can try that. But since they have a lot of small ships, they probably would catch us anyway. So we'll just move into engage. And if you had a larger fleet than this, you can transfer commands. So if we had more ships, and this fight, if we got stuck in it and couldn't get away for whatever reason, we could jump into a smaller ship, because the bigger the ship is, the more supplies it takes. As you can see, CR per deployment, deployment points, and deployment recovery cost. So the more points it takes, the more supplies it takes to bring it back into and out of combat and repair it. So usually you want to use the least amount of ships that you need to win to save money and to, make sure you don't run out of supplies in the long run, because you can be out in the far reaches of space here for quite a while sometimes. So we'll deploy. Yep, select what ships to deploy. Yep. Dismiss. And since I don't know, it's been a while, I'll leave the immobilizer because I don't think it's going to be as useful here. It doesn't have as much in the way of combat potential as the Vindicator and the Gladiator do. So we'll deploy. And I can always bring it in later anyway with reinforcements if I need to. So this is the overview map, which is what you can use to give commands if you want to do this sort of, you can almost treat this sort of like an RTS. It doesn't work out as well that way. It's always going to turn out better if you're paying more attention to it and piloting your ship. AI is not bad if you give them general commands, but also a forward assault and retreat. Then you get extra commands down here. You can add a defend. So sometimes you're defending a station. It'll be in the middle of the map. You can click defend and they'll just circle around it like vultures and shoot anything that tries to come after it. You can escort. So if you have smaller ships, you want to say, I had something like one of those little corvettes earlier, like a Guzanti or a Lancer. I can have it escort the bigger ships, and they'll fly around them in circles essentially, and sort of they'll try and take some fire for them, draw some fire away, and try to interpose themselves between threats that ship can actually defend it against. It won't get between, say, my Gladiator and a ISD, Imperial Star Destroyer. They tend to be not that stupid, but they are useful for taking care of fighters and whatnot. And for your when you're in a larger ship, letting the smaller ships patrolling around or guarding you, escorting you, take care of the small threats. So we'll just go in and out of the map, and there we go. So you see the circles, that's all the weapon systems and their ranges. And you can see there's the enemy popping up. But I forgot to set these to auto fire, so give me 1 second here. 3. There we go. That makes so that because you can only control one weapon group at a time. Setting them on auto fire lets the AI use the other one that you're not using to automatically shoot stuff, so you're not wasting weapon potential. But going in, we'll slow down a bit, set our shields up, and we will select the target. Take the big guy out first. So shoot. Oh, he's readiness. That's not good. That's better for us than him, probably. Set our fighters in. If our cruiser over there would stop hiding behind me. There we go. Fighters are in there doing some damage. And boom. And you see the bars here, flux and hull. So our flux is spiking because we were taking damage on our shield while shooting. As you can see, he was taking no damage on his shield, so his flux levels were staying low because he wasn't having the extra flux from shield damage. But if you also, he hasn't been doing anything, but see friendly CR, that's the combat readiness of our ship. So it'll start going down after the peak readiness is run out. And then as that goes down and hits lower percentages, you have chances of having malfunctions, like weapons just randomly not working. Your engines can go out. You can even start having stuff blow up and just take random giant chunks of damage out of your ship. Then you got fighters, which is the readiness of your flight crews, essentially. The more fighters you lose, the more they have to be essentially rebuilt or relaunched. Because in Starsector, the way it works is you have like little 3D printer type things in your ship that just churn out fighters as fast as they can as they get blown up to replace them, and just new pilots pop in. But yeah, so we're losing fighters. So you can see he lost pretty much his entire squadron right off. He lost a lot of fighters, and his fighter readiness went down way more than ours did because we have the heavier ones. And as you see, they're still all alive so far, looks like. Let's get the fight going again. Target. Used to be faster, higher agility with those auxiliary thrusters. I'm not used to the Gladiator turned on a dime like this when I was playing earlier. Yeah, since the other ship doesn't have a captain in it, he's going to be playing a bit more aggressively than I would like, or less aggressively. Tend to err on the side of caution until you get like a aggressive commander in there. And you can see the little dots around the circle. That's the tracking. So if I go too fast, you can see that it takes a while for the turret tracking to catch up. Shields, I get some flux out real quick. Ooh, a lot of missiles. Yeah, see that? There he is, overfluxed. He took a lot of damage right off from our bombers. That overloaded him. So then it kind of overloads your ship. You just kind of float there as it goes away. Vented right there.
Retreating.
Oh, and they're retreating. I doubt we'll be able to catch them since we're not the fastest ships in the world. So yeah. Oh yeah, okay, we're definitely not going to catch that unless our fighters can catch them. Which they might. You can see them? Yeah. Targeted, there we go. That should get our fighters in there. Oh, there we go, yep. That's why having a large fighter group is nice sometimes. Should be, yep, there we go, and the end screen. So we lost 7 crew and no Marines. That probably indicates fighter crew loss, because I don't think either of our ships took any hull damage. Yeah, 100%, yeah. So yeah, that's the pilots you lost. But since we had probably been a lot more. But since we had the fighter recovery mod on our ships, we didn't lose as many. Then if we wanted to, we can recover ships, which are usually heavily damaged because they blew up. But as I said, since there's no Star Wars ships here, we will not do that. That will give us more wreckage to go through. And here's our hull, some weapons, some components, metal, fuel, and supplies. And occasionally on these types of things you get valuable prisoners, which are nice because you can kind of keep those as a little bank to supply consumption, because we were in combat. So dismiss. And then as you can see, fleet-wide combat readiness is down. So there's no hull damage, so there's no repairs to make, but That means our ships are using way more supplies than usual. Until they repair that. Back to sustain burn. Quick circle, make sure there's nothing around the planet. And head back out to the jump point. And jump out. But as in the valuable prisoners, make our autopilot head back to... Is there any closer? Not really. No, First Order, we could probably hit them up, but we'll stick with Coruscant for now. 227 fuel. Yeah, we'll just barely make it, looks like. But I said the valuable prisoners, you can do multiple things with them. You can sell them for increased money to just any market. But you can also keep them and, I think it's called repatriate. And you can basically just use them as a bank to increase your standing with just pretty much any faction you want to, which is kind of nice. So I tend to stockpile them. So that way, if you do something fucky and attack the wrong guy or get a mission that you have to do, because there are special storyline missions for certain factions or contacts that you need to do some of the other cool stuff. But you have to attack someone you're friendly with, which can tank your standing. But if you have a nice bank of those guys stored up, you can just do whatever you want and then just go back and trade them in and get your reputation back up where it was. Or if, say, I wanted to, just randomly raise it with, like, say, we go to war with somebody, like the Empire goes to war with the Republic or the Rebel Alliance, you can trade them off and kind of get yourself into a friendly relationship with them shortly. It'll go back to war pretty quick. I've done it before, but if you need to, say, or you want to buy, say, you want to get a Calamari cruiser, C-80, just because you want one, but you can't build them, you can go and sneak in and repatriate a bunch of prisoners to get up to friendly, and then go buy one in the market, and then, the next tick of the intel thing, like, I think usually it's every month or so, depending, and then boom, you're back at war, but hey, you got what you wanted. There's Epsilon Rutherford. Where's that at? That's behind us. 14 fuel. Well, if it needs to be, we can go to Diable Avionics to get fuel, so that's not the end of the world. Diable's a pretty cool faction. It's from the mod as well. But they have okay, hopefully those don't come after us. Those guys can be kind of, Yep, there they go. Run away. Yeah, supplies. I burned a lot of supplies to get away from them, but yeah. It says they're salvage crew, but they tend to be pirates as often as they're independent salvagers, so gotta be careful with those guys when you're smaller. I didn't waste up too much fuel. What do we got? Oh. Warning beacon. Yeah. So in the lore of the game, there was before the breakaway, because this used to be connected to Earth through a special jump point or portal, I believe, if I remember right. Then they had a big, AI war cataclysm type thing. One of the factions was a Tritachyon, if I remember right. Which is factions. Tritach. Very high-end, high-tier, high-tech faction. But yeah, you can read this at your leisure if you want to pause it. But they made the AI, and they were sort of... Oh, who is that coming after us? Yeah, we might be able to take that in a fight, but I kind of doubt it. Some of those pirate ships are tanky, and we are not as tanky as some of their stuff is. Skip around this. But they had the AI, and they used them to explore and terraform worlds and stuff. Which, if anyone has played the X series, X3, X4, kind of like the Xenon there. But they sent the AI out to terraform and explore planets, and then the AI decided, well, we don't like you anymore. Big, huge AI war that set back the technology of most of the factions by decades, centuries in some areas. And they're just now catching back up with some of their stuff. Hence why you'll see a lot of ships that are heavily damaged and demodded. Jump in. Coruscant. trade goods. We can sell all this stuff. So we don't need it. We would need it later because that's what you can use when you make your own, get your own planet and have your own little space forces going. You can use those to fit ships by storing them in your planet or your storage at your home planet. But since we don't have one, we can't really do much with it. And storing them here, while doable, costs you money because it's a certain percentage of however much you have in there. So that can be, you know, if you start getting a nice stockpile going, you can be paying tens of thousands of credits a month to store your stuff in someone else's, basically someone else's garage. So yeah, got some money there. And I don't know if anyone saw, but someone probably also saw that we got paid. So we got Empire commissions. We get 25,000 credits a month, and then 300 credits base reward per frigate. So you kill enemies or blow up enemy ships, of the Empire ships. So in this case, pretty much just pirates right now. And anyone we get a contract for from our contact, and we get bonus money for it. And no colonies. This is your basically your faction control, faction control and info panel. So income. So you can see our fleet. We're making 25,000 from the Empire, and 15,000 from the Galatia Academy, which is basically sort of saying you essentially just graduated from the Officer Academy. Pretty much everyone gets this if you do a normal start of any kind, and it goes away. So it should start going for several months. You'll get to 15, then it'll slowly start cutting itself down how much you get until you get 0. But it's a good way to kind of help you a little bit, give a little bonus, because you don't always start with a commission in an actual empire. You could do completely independent, but then you just be this, the 15,000, which can be a harder one. But since you're an empire, a little extra money, and then crew payroll. So the more crew you have, it costs you money. So having extra crew is good because as you take combat damage, you'll lose crew. And it's like you said, we lost some pilots, so we lost crew there. And if your crew drops below a certain level, your ship readiness and ship combat effectiveness goes down. But since you have to pay each crewman, the more crew you have, the more you pay. So it's kind of a balancing act there to keep enough to make it safe when you're going on longer voyages, but also not too many that you're hemorrhaging money. And blueprints, so if once you get your own colony going, you get your own ships defending it. This is how you can kind of set up how you want your patrols to be. In production, same thing. If we had a system with a manufacturing on it, we can make our own fighters, weapons, and ships. But since we can't, or we don't have one right now, we can't. So, but figured I'd show it off. So let's see, we got any more? 180, com directory, contact. Any more work? Bounties again. That's closer. And very doable, I think. Let's see what else we got here. Close as well. The mechs, those can be tough. So we could probably do that one too. For challenging, probably, yeah, definitely not. There's no way we're going to be taking on some victories, dreadnoughts. Yeah, that's not happening, but I think we can do this one. So we get 82 grand for that. Let's see how that works. Oh, and also, didn't show before, but you can also resign your commission. So if you wanted to go completely, say you get your own planet going, your own colony, and decide, hey, I want to go by myself, you can resign your commission. Which, if you're very friendly with the Empire and you say you max it out and you've been doing it for a couple of in-game years, building up your reputation with different contacts in the Empire, you won't take too much of a hit. But it also means you have to start spending money with your other spies and diplomats to keep your reputation up with them, because it will slowly start going down. And then random actions you have no control over will also lower it. Let's see, any ships we can buy? Probably not. No. Could get a tanker, but we really don't need it right now. We could get a cruiser, which would be useful. Would take most of our money outfitting it. Let's hope we get a cargo ship. Nice to have. You can never have too much cargo in this game, because you can you can get some loot boxes out there that are pretty hefty. But I think, let's see, got damages, glitch, sensor, and structural. Not terrible, but also not very good. You know what, for kicks and grins, I think I'll get a Gozanti, just because they're neat little ships. Yep, on your ship, yep. Refit screen, so here we go. Let's see, what can he have? Some small, small, and a medium. So we can do auto fit, which will basically fit with default settings, which is useful for doing it quick. Also quick for getting an idea on what it needs. So it'll be a dual turbo, 4 lasers, and a TIE line fighters. Or we can do it ourselves, which is nice, especially since if you don't have a lot of money, some of the options on the default ones can be quite expensive. But doing it this way, you can kind of pick and choose so you can get some different ones. We got 827, 15 ordnance points. I think it was the dual is what it came with, which is a lot less range, as you can see. But first of all, we'll hit the laser cannons since those are basic and fairly cheap. And I'll check the damage on stuff real quick. Quads are nice, a bit more expensive, but the same price. So yeah, you can go a lot of fittings here that you can mess with and change stuff up. But we'll just do basic lasers. And then grab a TIE fighters, which I have to go black market, which is kind of funny. I would go bombers, but I don't really try striker. No, they're the same price. They're not too much more expensive, and they are a decent bit more effective than the TIE fighters, at least weapon-wise. Don't know if they really are. No, let's go with those. I don't have a whole lot of knowledge on a lot of the stuff behind this game right now. But we'll max out this real quick. Well, vents aren't really important right now. We'll go with the auxiliary thrusters and reinforced bulkheads, which gives us 15 points left, which would be just enough for the DBY, which is a very nice one. If you consider the damage between it for just 5 more ordnance points compared to the dual that one does to give it. And more range, which is also good for a lot of these ships. If you look at the stats, yeah, it's a lot. The biggest thing with a lot of these is looking at the flux per damage stat, because that's kind of what it comes down to, is how efficient they are for most of it. You can see that's a 0.33 per damage. That's a 0.63, so it's almost twice as efficient with more range. It fires a bit slower, like about half as fast, but with a lot more damage, which I think will be good. So we'll go with that. Weapon groups. Auto assign it, yep, and make sure auto fire. Do the same with all these real quick, because you never know when I might want to swap out to something else, to one of the other ships for a fight. These two just so I don't forget. There we go. Alright. If I had more money, I'd swap these out for DBYs, just because I like the DBYs. But we'll keep the base set for now. And also, one of the mods I have is the Ship Legends mod. So as you use the ship, it will get traits. Also, your crew will start to like you or hate you depending on how well you do, which can add extra stuff to your ship, like faster repair. Or you can see here, powerful engines, so extra speed, but also weak armor. So we lose 5% armor, which is kind of annoying, but with the Star Wars ships, usually it's once your shields go down, if you start taking a lot of armor damage, you're probably kind of out of luck anyway. We got here fuel tanks. Fuel capacity is not bad. Inefficient flux vents is not good, but there are ways to change these. You'll get some random events occasionally. If we haven't used that one, it doesn't get anything. Yeah, it's targeting computer built in, so flight defense weapons. Oh, that's not bad. So it'd be decent for escorting some of my other ships around. There's one thing the Star Wars ones are lacking, which is kind of good because it's good for the way that the lore-wise is point defense is lacking on most of the ships. You have a lot of laser cannons, but they fire kind of slow, and they don't really have bursts on a lot of them. So you have a lot of trouble taking down missiles, which is fun and also not in a way, because a lot of the factions from base game Starsector have a lot of missiles. So since we just bought the ship, it isn't up to full readiness yet, so we'll have to spend some supplies there to do that. Let's get a drink here real quick. Alright. So let's head out to that mission, which was up there. Autopilot and just Epsilon. So yeah, no idea where it's at there. But we will save. Saving is very good for Starset because once you start getting over a couple of mods, which is, I'm way above that, you can start having some stability issues. It'll start slowing down and chugging. If you look up here in the top corner, I'm not sure if you can see it or not, but FPS and idle tells you the amount of memory that you're using. So I'm not using a lot of it right now, but once you start getting into mid to late game, you can start having a lot of issues. Up here. And then didn't shut before first order trading fleet. So get little info blurbs on other things you see flying around, just because I'm guessing it's showing inside, like the transponders probably transferring information. They're transmitting information on what they're doing. Kind of how they do in real life. A lot of ships. We can turn a transponder off. Makes it harder for people to see us, but as I was saying here, you see course laid in for Epsilon and Yang, distance, fuel it requires versus fuel we have, and how many days at the current speed, which is 19 in-game days just because I'm going slow, because I don't want to get smacked by these things. The storms are annoying. Early game, they can wreck you because you don't have the storage to, or the money, the amount of supplies they can take. They can tank the readiness of your ships very quick hitting one of those. So we'll try and skirt around some of these. So you can see the more things going on. Philanthropy, private figure, generous donation to Concord Dawn, improve relations with Bangalore. So that's one of the random diplomatic things that can happen in the background. And on the intel screen, like I said, is doing things down here. It can tell you if it pops up. It can tell you how much stuff, different stuff's worth. So if you want to do trading, see, you could go and buy fuel at Mustafar for cheaper, or at least 2,000 of it because they have an excess, and sell it, say, to the pirates, which you probably get blown up because of the pirates, or Mantell for money, so you can make a decent profit there. And this is going to only updates when you're in space. Usually, I believe you have to dock with a market to get a download of it. But if you want to do a trading fleet, play through, that's a way you can do it, because it is a real time. Go around that. I don't want to get sucked into that. It is a real time economy, so you can invade someone and steal their stuff. Like, say I want to invade a random planet and steal supplies for my Marines if I had any. So I get a cough. All right, hopefully I paused that in time because that was a bad one. But I say if I wanted to invade a planet to steal stuff for my Marines. That's not good, don't want to jump in that one. It would lower the amount available there, which would increase unrest. It'd cost that faction more money because they have to import more. So you can basically drive planets to revolt if you want to, just by stealing their stuff. Also, same thing with hitting their trade fleets. Like I wanted to hit that first order trade fleet, whatever he was carrying would create a short-term loss and shortage, short-term loss, shortage of that supply in that particular system. To see who was over there. Asteroids, don't want to fly through those full speed, they'll knock you around, can damage your ships. There they are. So that was them sitting there. Alright, so let's go in to fight them. Actually, The same thing. No, never mind. Yeah, they caught us too fast. So let them chase us a bit to use up some of their readiness, but they caught us. So we got a mech, support frigate, predator. Those are kind of. Yes, they have a lot of D mods, which is those orange things. So even though these are some of these are scary ships for early game, they're damaged enough that it shouldn't be too much of a problem. So let's move into engage. And since this is a bigger fight, I think I'll send in everything. We got plenty of supplies for this, and we'll get a decent payout for this. So we shouldn't have too much to worry about. And I'll have the Gazanti escort the Immobilizer, just because they have a bit weaker in the way of combat potential. Shields up.
Let's do some
Fighters
damage.
in and just start blasting away. Most time on these, if I have this, I'm going to be doing those just because I'm not as good at leading targets as the target AI is, so missiles are easier. A lot less wasted DPS that way. Yeah. Wrecks also are a bit annoying to dodge around
Forming
because they
up
can
on your
knock a
wing.
ship out of alignment too. All the ships back, some were damaged. You can see building with those little sparks flying. Either getting rebuilt or the bomber's going to get reloaded. Ships back up. Launch some missiles.
We're going
fighters
in.
I think that's it.
Regroup for another attack.
Maybe? Maybe not. Oh, they got past us. They go after... okay, still. The Vindicator, not as bad. I thought they were after the Immobilizer. I've been able to...
The enemy is retreating.
Oh, good. Catch them on the retreat. So we got so far behind them. They have to run towards their side of the field. They can't run out our side of the battlefield. So if you want to cut off retreat, usually it's a good idea to get some fast ships like Gazantes or some Raiders or whatever else, and have them circle wide to see if you can get behind them to catch anyone that tries to run away. You know, more loot's always good. That should be it. Yep, there we go. All right. Do I care? Not really, since we got the person we needed. So there's no point in wasting extra supplies to chase him down, so let them go. Don't want any of their ships. And you see the relationship with the pirates got reduced since we took out a pirate captain. And got some money for it, because, yeah, everything's electronic, future. All currency is electronic, so we can steal it from their computers. So, pick the wreckage. And same thing, some supplies, crew, weapons, random components. Here we go. And so there's about to complete it. And you see Empire Commission. Since we killed a bunch of frigates, we got 2,100 extra credits and some extra relationship. So another way to improve relationship is just blow up your enemies of your friends. So we'll head back out since, like I said, we don't have the supplies or the cargo capacity to start doing planned exploration yet. We'll head back to Coruscant, sell off our junk. We got a BFF class freighter. Anyone that's played X-Wing vs. TIE Fighter, any of those old games, you'll recognize this ship. Do I want to waste a story point on that? Not really. Yeah, graded drive. Yeah, that's bad. That slows it way down in hyperspace. But as D-mods, the recovery costs are cheaper, so it can be good if certain ones are actually good because it decreases the number of supplies needed to deploy them to fight and repair them. And since it was a cargo ship, had some extra random bits and bobs in there, some heavy armaments, which will sell nice, since we really don't even arrange to use them right now. And some other stuff. Let's take it. Oh, that's not good. So, over our cargo capacity, which is not good. Using an extra 18 supplies per day. So we'll get rid of the cheapest stuff, which is probably going to be the food, metals. Yeah, metal is usually one of the cheapest ones and easiest ones to get rid of just because it's everywhere. If you have something other special, organics, that kind of stuff, usually keep those. Food, yeah, it's just not worth very much. So, confirm. And we got a story point for that. So you just get story points for doing stuff, extra experience, so many experience points, you get story points. And you can use those. So if I want to, when we're under attack, if I want to run away, use a series of special maneuvers, use a story point, but you also get bonus experience for it. So it sort of pays for itself and get another story point, almost. But you can use them to do special actions that you wouldn't normally be able to do. So always good to save some up. You never know, you might need to spend one to run away from a fight you can't win. You can also use them to upgrade different skills to elite. So like if I want to do damage control, get your normal bonuses of the hull damage taken, crew lost, and faster combat weapon repairs. But if you go to elite, you can, at most once every 2 seconds, a single hit of damage above 500 points has anything above 500 reduced by 60%. So a lot of them have special bonuses if you go to elite. But since we got our mission done, we'll head back to Coruscant, sell off our loot, and then I'll probably save it and then call this recording there, most likely. I spent quite a bit of time trying to get the recording software working, which was annoying. But finally was able to figure out what my problem was. We'll head back, sell stuff, see what we got for money-wise. Should have a decent chunk, might be able to get another ship. And maybe see if there's any officers available for hire. Any decent ones. Another ship floating off, it looks like. We got Asperities Freighter, which I believe is a vanilla ship, or a modded base game ship. Yeah, so I don't want that. And more stuff we are close to... Ooh, that's a big hit. I'll get rid of this. Probably being a bit too greedy here, but we are close to Coruscant, so we might be able to do it, because as we use supplies, our supply consumption goes down because we're not as high over now. Yeah, we can afford that. I got too greedy. Dump that. That's better. Yeah, 15 per day is a lot more doable. Yeah, destroy machinery. Yeah, so a lot of stuff going on in the background there. Transponder on, jump in, get to Coruscant and sell this stuff before we use up all our supplies. Sell. Yeah, and then sell that. Boom. That's a nice chunk. Any decent ships? Huh. Get one of those, I don't really need. Freighter would be nice. What's the military got? Carrick. Black market, anything good? Black market's nice for ships because you can get them a lot cheaper, but as I said, buying them it can be tricky if you get caught. But not really anything. If we didn't have an immobilizer, I'd be tempted, but that'd take all our money. So I will go with... A freighter would be nice, but we also need some more combat ships. It's a tough decision. One I really don't have time to make right now because I need to get to bed for work tomorrow. Let's take a look, see what we got any for officers. Don't want any mercenaries like this. They're very expensive, but we do have 2 other ones available. What do we got? So, Enyo Kentaurian, Lieutenant Commander, so she should be... I mean, she's got a couple levels on her, maybe. No. Okay. Timid, not good. Not bad for, like, a carrier pilot, because you want them to stay back, but not good for us, since we need aggressive, usually, or steady, another really good one. So, are you steady, maybe? Aggressive, huh? There we go. Ballistic Mastery isn't as useful, because... it's Star Wars, it's all energy weapons. But how much they cost? $1,300 per month. But that's how we can do that. they're not too expensive. So we can put them into, I'd say, yeah, put them into the Vindicator. Nice. So that's not a bad first episode, I don't think. Got a couple in-game weeks through, got everything set up, got a new ship, did some missions, explored a bit. So I will save. I think I will pause, save. And I think I'll leave it here for now. I'll get this one up, I'm not sure when, but probably won't be doing too much because it's a full-time job, but I'll try and see if I get an episode a week maybe out, because I'll be doing this on top of getting anyone else that's watching this that's subscribed knows that most of the stuff is trail cam videos, and I'm still got a backlog from the last was it November, beginning December of last year before I took the cameras down. Huge backlog of those because work was killing me with overtime, and I'm way behind on getting those done. But I'll stop the recording here, and I'll talk to you guys later. Hopefully I'll see you guys again, so if you like this, leave a comment, like, subscribe, and let me know if you want to hear more. I will talk to you guys later.